Hey, you're listening to what I would have called the Boltscast, but I realize that's actually something connected to the San Diego Chargers, which we are not. This is the podcast for the Shadowbolts. What are the Shadowbolts? We're kinda in the phase of figuring that out. But, what I envision is a group of awesome people that just come together and play video games because they want to have fun. And it doesn't matter what group you're from, who you are, what you look like, what you even sound like. We just come together and we play games. You belong to some other group that you play games with? That's fine. We still welcome you to come in as a guest. And we'll gladly carry conversation, we'll have fun with you, play various Steam games, whatever. We'll even actually have people that we'll want to take in as official members to do stuff like, we could have them do the stream with me, we could have them do the podcast with me. There's all kinds of stuff we can actually do as a group. But yeah, that's the idea at the moment. We're just an open group, open and available to anybody that actually just wants to come in, have fun, make some friends. That's our goal, fun and friendship, which explains the motif of this group. By the time this goes up, this group is going to be what I call soft rebooted, air quotes. We've already existed many times. It's just that every single time, it's always had a different attitude, and the attitude's usually been kind of poor. I'm not gonna lie. Like, originally, the group existed to live up kinda to the name. We didn't really care about anybody. We just wanted to get some members. And we went dark and mature and kinda sinister. Kinda like the actual in-game. Well, sorry, not in-game. In show. Where they just wanted Dash to join. They didn't exactly care for anything. They just talked it up and made it look good compared to the real Wonderbolts. Anywho, because of this time we're going with a lighter, hence bright colors and all that. We're trying to embrace the feel of the show that's given this group life, basically. To go along with that, I've changed rules and whatnot. Tried to trim out the fat, make us look less serious, since apparently that was one of the issues people had with us in the past. I built the group, I had this idea that we should base it kind of military, like Air Force rankings and stuff like that, and I had serious rules since I run a very tight ship, and that definitely caused people not to really catch on to us. So I'm changing that this time around. And now we've got silly things in there like Discord is best pony as a rule, and pointing out that it's in John Delancey's contract. 'Cause it probably is, just for humor. Let's see. I've also put in a new tier system for banning, because before my rule was, if I didn't like you, I'd ban you, and you had one strike and you were out. Because I am from the age-old age of internet time, back in the 90s, where banning people actually meant something, compared to nowadays, where you gotta ban them on, like, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. Just everywhere, if you try to block somebody out. So yeah, now we have a new tier system on that. I've introduced something that I was brewing since 2005 or 6, when I was a co-admin on a Mega Man site many moons ago. Rockman's Perfect Memory, which never go there. Horrible site now. But anywho, I am going to go now have a hitting council of members, and I'm going to try to rotate occasionally to keep it fair, and I'm going to swear them to secrecy. If somebody's banned and they want to contest it, they're going to be able to be brought back on site for about, we'll give 4 hours or something. They're going to be able to present their case to say why they feel they were unjustly banned, and then the staff's going to present the outer evidence to these people. They're going to be trialed basically against their peers, and if the ban's unfair, completely wiped off the record, and whoever gave the ban is going to be reprimanded. Because, as I've learned over the years, power leads to corruption. So this checks and balance is actually going to be something that'd be good. But, because I am a man that loves gambling, you always have to have risk, If somebody goes and says they've been unfairly banned, and it's been determined that they were fairly banned, they get elevated to a higher tier of banned issue. So like if somebody's a 3-day ban, then they're going to shoot up to a 14-day ban, because that's tier 2 to tier 4. If they're tier 3 or higher, which means they've already screwed up a few times and they try to say that they were justified when they weren't, then we just flat out boot them after that, because it'd be considered a permaban basically. And the idea behind this is that these people are going to take their time out of their life to go and represent and hear somebody's case. And if their time is wasted, then compensation is considered something that should be expected. Also, on other site changes, I'm going to be introducing, if it's not up already by the time this goes up, a media tab. The deal is that it's going to lead to a page that's going to have all the podcast, the podcast of the month is what I'm going to do. And then have a link to an archive thread on our forums. It's also going to link to our YouTube page. It's going to have an embedded version of our Twitch stream, and also a link directly to it. And on that page, I'm actually going to bring back the radio function again. And our radio function is actually very nice, and I'm going to have that as a community effort. Because all it does is just plays directly audio from a YouTube video. So the sky's the limit. It's not on our site, it's just pulling from YouTube. So I mean, we could have just about anything we want there. We could have show tunes, we could have pony tunes, we could have Mega Man songs, we could have 8-bit remixes, we could even have Queen on there. Which, trust me, I would be happy if people recommended that's what they wanted. So yeah, look forward to that. I'm going to have a thread about that later on to get some ideas, because it's directly played off a playlist that I have on our YouTube channel. So I just collect, compile, and everything's good after that. And let's see. I am going to end this. I'm going to try to do these, for the moment, probably every other week. I basically want to do a week in review kind of deal. And if there's anything big or major related to the site, group, or gaming, I'll try to work that in. But this is basically just to let people know we exist, and also for the amusement of those that would like a service like this. At this point, at the tail end, I'm going to do a member highlight. What I want is that as I have people join the site and then join the ranks of the bolts, I'm going to do a member highlight. Like, say, next week, we have Bob, Rosie, and Jack join. Next podcast would be Bob. And then the one after that, I would try to get Rosie. And the one after that would be Jack. No matter who joins, I would try to do like an order like that, if you catch my drift. I would invite them to either co-host with me and let them talk about themselves at the end, or I would just have them give me a list of information, what they would like to say or push, and then I'll just read it off for them. So with that explained, this week's member highlight, SB. I'm the leader of your group. My online handle is SB, which actually was what caused the Shadowbolts to be born, because I was having a conversation with somebody about what kind of group I could name for the pony theme. And they said, why not go Shadowbolts, because your name is SB? And it just clicked like that. And it was something born right then and there, and it's just been perfect ever since. My title that I'm going to officially adopt now is going to be the Alicorn Overlord, which at the moment I have the funny tagline of pays the bills. Because by the time this goes live, I am going to add an entire year of hosting to the site. Because I feel that strongly about the vision I'm taking this group in now. That this time, it's going to be perfect, and it's going to be worth every penny. Alicorn Overlord entails that I do site work, like the coding and whatnot. I'll do the layout, and also determine the graphical look of it to see if something looks good or not. And I also do our podcast and our stream, though later on others are going to be welcome to take that over if they want, or give a crack at it. And like anybody that takes the moniker of Alicorn, or supposed to anyway. I lead. I am the leader of this group. I am technically the lifeblood, which for better or for worse, wherever I go, the Bolts goes. And I've definitely learned a lot about leadership over the years working with this group. Can you believe that this group's actually a year and a half old by now? I can't. But it's true. This week in game news, we're nearing the end of Mega May, which is the event that Capcom and Nintendo are doing on the eShop right now for the 3DS. Let's see. This week they just released the amazing Mega Man 4, which is Roman numeral 4 for people that aren't thinking of Cossack. Even though he's got some robots in there, this game really pushes the limits of what the Game Boy could do. It's got some slowdown at points, but that's just because there's so much going on at any given moment. The Buster, they even gone as far as to give it a knockback or a kick, because he's definitely packing some power in this game. And it's got cinematics. It actually has a good remix of the Mega Man 4 on NES is a boss fight, which generally was seen as one of the worst boss fight songs probably in the whole series. And it also actually has an interesting take to get to the end. You're still going to be fighting two sets of Robot Masters. First set's from Mega Man 4, second set's from 5. First set, you can collect beat tokens to go and unlock beat to actually attack enemies for you. Second round, you have to collect Wily tokens. And the deal there is if you don't collect them in the stages, you can't actually advance to his fortress. So yeah, you'll have to keep that in mind. Slated for this Thursday, coming up, is actually going to be Mega Man 5 with the Star Droids, which is technically the only original from scratch Mega Man game for Game Boy. Well, classic series. Well, I guess you could probably count the Extreme games in there too, since they just ended up reusing assets too. And other news of gaming related. Philips, the company that graced us with such forgettable products like the CDI and generic household appliances, they've actually trying to take a lawsuit against Nintendo now. The deal is that they're going to try to get them to be unable to sell any Wii U's in America because of patent infringement. Nintendo's usually got a really strong batting average about lawsuits, so probably in their favor. And especially since, if I remember reading right, Philips made these patent claims that they're suing over back in 2009 for stuff that basically lines up with Kinect, not even what the Wii U does. Like body capture and movement and stuff like that, compared to, I'm not even fully familiar with the Wii U. I know it's still got the nunchuck if you guys still have that. And you can move the not keyboard, but controller tablet thing around, and that kind of works. Yeah. So that's probably going to end up being something they'll settle out of court, or going to cost Philips lots of money. But we'll find out in the coming weeks. Well, actually, lawsuits like these usually take years. And then we'll just hear about it on some blog. From there, E3 is on the way, of course. That's coming next month. Not too much to talk about at the moment. A bunch of fake lists are circulating around. So I'm sure you'll probably see a few things like that. Nintendo's going to have a 90-minute session for one 3DS game, which nobody knows what it is yet because they haven't said. I don't even think it could really be Brawl. Or not Brawl, but the latest Smash that's coming out in a couple of months that we don't even know the name of. Just Smash Brothers. But actually, now I think about it, they're trying to go the Disney Infinity route. And whatever Spyro's games are lately. Skylander, that's the game. Where Nintendo's gone on in one of their latest investor meetings saying that they're going to start using tokens and stuff like this to go and integrate into games. So they could actually be explaining this new system. Because if they've already announced the plans for it, then they probably have something a little solid in mind. Xbox One, the only thing interesting this week that I've seen was that they're actually going to have a Halo collection. Because, if you have an Xbox, you like Halo. If you don't, you're probably not doing something right. It's going to have 1 to 4 on it is confirmed. No idea yet on what the FPS rate's going to be, like if they're going to update it to 60 on the older games, if they're going to update any textures. But online's definitely a given. I'm sure Halo 2 is going to see a lot of love in that regard. And if I ever save enough money and actually have the chance to get a Xbox One, I'm probably going to pick this game up. Not going to lie. So yeah, that's about it for this week. I will be uploading this shortly, and I'll be trying to implement the things that I talked about. I'm just going to leave it raw this week since this is podcast number 1. We'll get fancier as we go on. In the future, these are going to be done on a Monday to Sunday kind of basis. No, sorry, Friday to Sunday. Because I am starting college Monday. And it's apparently a cram course. And I am probably going to greatly regret that because I've been out of school for a decade. I'm going to have some fun with that. But until then, I'm SB. I am the leader of the Bolts, and I look forward to playing games with you guys and talking to you on our very open and public site. So yeah, have fun, keep on gaming, and I'll see you around.